So the real key is, first off, creating great content and then getting that message out there. And I'm going to show you how we basically got the message out there. I tried a lot of different things. I think the first and most important thing that you need to do, it's the secret. Everybody is looking for, well, what's the secret to what rank well in Google or get people to come to your website and keep coming back? Now, there is no magic button that you can press and magically you'll be number one for every single keyword that you want to rank for, and you'll have hordes of people fighting over themselves to get to your website. But if I had to say that there was a secret, it's not really a secret when you think about it. It's about creating great content. Because when you think about it, what is it that Google actually wants? Google wants to make sure that their users who go to google.com have the best user experience. When they're looking for something, they find it. And that's really what Google's all about. People go to Google with these questions or problems, they enter them into the search box, and some results come up. Google wants to make sure that that question that the person has in their mind, they get answered by running that Google search. So by doing that, once we understand the fundamentals of what Google's trying to achieve, we want to create content around this idea. We want to help solve people's problems and answer their questions and help give them something that they're looking for. So that's step one. And then once you start to create that, you don't have to think as much about SEO because SEO happens naturally. People share good quality content. So it starts off with that good quality content, and I'll show you how to optimize it to at least get the ball rolling and get Google understanding what you're all about. But then beyond that, people will start to share, and that SEO happens naturally. So I'll give you those basic rules. And once that happens, that's when they start to syndicate it, and you want to make sure it's easy to share. And I'll show you how we can take our content and put it in key places throughout the web that'll maximize the chance of it actually getting syndicated. Now, if you think about the way that the web works, it has changed over time. Initially, people used to, when they liked a piece of content, they'd go out there and post a link to it over on another website or in their blog, and that's how people would share. But this has started to change. We're seeing we've got a much more social web, and when people like a piece of content, they take it and then they share it in their Twitter or their Facebook or on their Google Plus page. So we need to make sure that not only is our content great, but then we're also giving people the tools to be able to share it socially. So how do we actually do that? What's the thought process of going behind this? The first thing that you need to think about is, who is your target market? Who are you creating this content for? And then you want to get into the mind of these people, your audience, your target market. Understand what conversations are going on in their mind. Everybody has different questions and conversations going on in their mind, and what we want to do is, when we create content, we want to meet those conversations that are going on in people's minds, or get them to read our article and go, aha, yes, I agree, I get that. That makes sense. That's just like me. All of that you need to take into consideration, and you create the content for the person. So the way that I like to do that, one of the first things when I'm working with someone is we talk about designing like an avatar, someone who is an excellent representation of your target market. Actually, give them a name. So it might be Jane, and she's a mum of two, and she lives out in Greensboro, and she's got a house, and her husband's got a good job. She has a part-time job. You know, what does she like to do in her spare time? What does she like to drive? What are her problems? You know, she can't find enough time in the day. She wants to be creative for her kids. You get really clear on who your target market is. So when you write, or you need to make decisions about what you're doing on your website, you can make them based on what, Jane, this avatar, is looking for. And then that's a great way to answer questions. Whenever you come up against something and you're not quite sure how to solve it, you think, well, what would be most important for Jane? That's the best place to start with any online sort of marketing endeavor.